Welcome to another episode, everyone. Stealing in prison is an absolute no-no. In fact, stealing in prison is on the same level as a chomo and a snitch, a rat. You may say, stealing is just as severe and has the same consequences as someone who has snitched on someone and a chomo? Well, yes, sir. It is true, and there's reasons for that. Just know that they're in prison. If you get caught stealing from another incarcerated person, they're going to split your head wide open. Your faction is, your brethren is, your people are. You can never develop a reputation of a prison thief, a jail thief, someone who is in there taking from the poor. You're taking from the people who are already miserable and do not have much. And you're asking for trouble. And there in Chino circa 1997, 1998, let's call him Honey Bun. Honey Bun had sticky fingers, and no one knew it at the time. But it all came crashing down upon Honey Bun sooner rather than later. There in Chino, a small melee between the blacks and the Hispanics had transpired a few weeks earlier on a different yard. Nevertheless, there was tension on our yard, palpable tension. You can feel it, you can taste it, you can even see it. The racists were keeping their distance between one another after we were all cool with one another. After the tension for about a month, the tension began to subside and wane some, and we were back on regular terms with one another. And right at the time that we got back on good terms with one another, the blacks and the Hispanics, things began to come up missing inside of the dorm. Now, we were here on the dorm, I believe it was on East Yard, and you had your belongings inside of a locker, your own personal locker, and there were bunk beds. And you had your locker, and your bunkie had his locker. And we can go to canteen, as in most prisons, once a month and purchase commissary, honey buns, Snickers, soap and deodorant, soups, tuna, etc. But you always have to be wary of some people who cannot purchase these things on their own. Sometimes they employ subterfuge in order to eat. So one has to be mindful. And there in Chino, we're walking the child all of the time. And every time we go to dinner and come back, the blacks would realize that a few of their items, a couple of them, were missing from their locker. Oftentimes, it was a honey bun that was missing. Someone amongst us had a penchant for honey buns. Not only that, his proclivity was to eat honey buns that did not belong to him. I believe he figured that if he took a honey bun or two from a locker here and there, the person, the victim, would not notice it missing if he had ample amount. And that probably was true for some time. But eventually the blacks began to talk amongst ourselves and say, man, something's not right here. We're all missing honey buns. And Honey Bun, well, he was a dude from Fresno. And he was on that down, down baby, that Beyonce. And because of this, he had a sweet tooth and always used to go around the dorm asking blacks, brothers, for honey buns. So he immediately became a suspect. But I thought, could he be so stupid as to go around stealing honey buns when he's the one that is always asking for honey buns, thinking that we would not put two and two together? But still, we carry on inside of the dorm because there's no proof that Honey Bun at this juncture has done anything unbecoming. Well, the proof was not far away because eventually Honey Bun decided to steal from a Southsider. Now, the Southsider came back and noticed that some of his cocoa, his hot chocolate, was missing, some of his honey buns, and some other items. And he believed that there's no way a Southsider would take these things from him, knowing that he's risking his life by doing so. So people were going around the dorm, and everybody's up in arms. The word is out, the Southsider stuff is missing. No one knows who did it necessarily. Black stuff had been coming up missing. So everybody's like, man, fuck it, we got to get to the bottom of this and find out who amongst us is the culprit. And out of nowhere, another dude, a younger dude, he comes to the blacks and says that he knows who the Honey Bun Bandit is. And we asked him, well, how do you know? And he said that he witnessed him pilfering the honey buns on many of occasions. We asked, well, how come he didn't come forward with this information before, knowing that we have been searching for the bandit? And he said that he just essentially did not want to get involved, but now since the Southsiders were involved, and there was tension on the yard just recently, which again there was, he didn't want anything to ignite. He didn't want anything to kick off, and thus he decided it was best for him to come forward and spill the beans. So as long as this individual was stealing honey buns from the blacks, you were okay with that. But the minute that he stole some from the Southsiders, you decided to come forward because you are in fear of a riot kicking off? Okay. This is not going over well with the brothers. So the brothers decided, once we got together, that we would just approach Honey Bun and force him to open his locker and see if we can find any of the items that have been coming up missing. And of course, if they are there, and we believe that they are, we believe that Honey Bun is indeed the individual who has been in here stealing. He's been staying back from child. The dude is hungry all of the time. And yet, he has not been going to dinner. He goes to breakfast, but he's not been going to dinner. And this is the time when everything is coming up missing. And so we're putting two and two together already before the dude even comes forward. And again, he's always asking for honey buns. And so before the dude comes forward and says that Honey Bun is the culprit, we're already pointing fingers towards him just without evidence at the moment. He just really verified and confirmed what we were already believing, that Honey Bun is the one that's around here stealing these damn honey buns. Approach him with weapons, because if he is indeed the culprit, if his locker turns out to have the stolen goods, he must be attacked immediately on the spot. No negotiation, no talking. So be prepared to attack him, because we believe that it's going to be necessary. We believe it's him. Fine. He's lying down in his bed. And the blacks, well, they approach. 5 or 6 blacks. Weapons in tow. They hit the bunk. Honey Bun, open your locker. Honey Bun is stalling, faking like he's still asleep, like he's coming to. What's going on, man? What you talking about? Man, open your locker real quick, bro. Blacks on him. They got the bunk surrounded. He's like, man, what you talking about, man? Open my locker for what? He said, we're going to tell you one more time. He began to understand what was transpiring before his very eyes. That these dudes were serious. And that the chickens were coming home to roost. The decisions that he had made had been found out, discovered. And his ass was about to be grass. He knew it. He can feel it. He did indeed open his locker. And it was stacked from the floor to the ceiling. Inside of we got some big lockers there in Chino. In the dorm. Big lockers. His locker was stacked. The man never goes to the store. He never goes to commissary. He never goes to cantina. And yet, his locker was stacked from the floor to the ceiling with glazed honey buns. How was this? Not only that, the items that the Southsider had just came up missing, that he was just missing, had just been stolen from his property, was right there in Honey Bun's locker. There was nothing else for the blacks to say. But it was also decided in the get-together, in the sit-down, when we were going over this, that if he is indeed the culprit, then we're going to attack this dude who came forward with this information for withholding the information for all of this time for selfish reasons. And then only revealing the information when another race got involved and he became scared. But he was supposed to as soon as you see someone stealing, the same as you see someone snitching. If you know that someone is a chomo, you have to reveal this damn information. You got us around a snitch and you ain't told us that he's a snitch. I've brought you stories before where someone was snitching, someone knew it and didn't say it, did not reveal the fact that this dude was a rat and he knew he was a rat, and they got him and they got him. They got them both for not letting us know that he was a snitch, and you knew that he was. Same thing for a thief. You know that this dude was in here stealing people's property, people's belongings. We don't have much inside these prisons as it is behind these walls. This is why it's so frowned upon. We're supposed to stick together in here. And you're taking from us, we're all the same in here. We're all locked up trying to make it. No, you knew it and didn't say anything. And so when the blacks began to savagely attack Honey Bun, and they did, he's screaming, trying to wrap himself up in the blanket, Then he jumped up and tried to run, and the blacks was on him, no, and got on him, and man downed him. He dropped. Chino, not many knives were being used at this time because it was just violators here. But the brothers were irate and decided that weaponry was merited. And they attacked him with the weapons. And then the dude who had been withholding the information, covering up for the thief, was attacked as well. A few blacks were designated and put on him, and he tried to run as well. And the blacks got on him, cracked him, busted his eye wide open, and man downed him right there. Bam, man down. Playing games. Stealing in prison, again, is a no-no. Never do it. No matter how bad it is, no matter how hard it gets, you never want to steal from any individual for any reason and steal anything in prison. It is so frowned upon that you can and most likely will lose your life. If not, you will be damaged, injured severely in one way or another if you get caught stealing. Never do it. Sickening. Stay free, people.